News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
From the floor of the Republican National Convention. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning, and here we are on Tuesday. Yes, indeed. Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. Sky is clear. It's a beautiful morning. We have 57 degrees in Missoula. Newscast this morning sponsored by Bullseye Wear, Missoula's only certified master optician on South Reserve, the old R.P. Ellis location. Call 552-1299. Online at bullseyemt.com. Will Deshaw has agreed to provide commentary for KGVO News from the floor of the convention, Keeping America Safe. That was the theme on day one of the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. Former chairman of the Montana Republican Party, Deshaw, said the afternoon session of the first day was taken up with procedural issues.
The remarkable thing about it is once that was decided, everything calmed down. The anti-Trump people joined the Trump people. It was so much different than 4 years ago when we had the problem or the concerns from the Ron Paul people. 8 states had filed a petition, and then 3 dropped out. You had to have 9. The 3 dropped out, gave them 5, and so they couldn't move to have a roll call vote. So the motion that was offered by the anti-Trump people died.
Deshaw said Donald Trump introduced his wife, Melania, who Deshaw said brought the House down, and we've, of course, heard about that. There's already controversy involved from that speech. Montana Senator Steve Daines, who was going to bypass the Republican National Convention, will instead be making a brief stop there today. The Great Falls Tribune reports Daines will leave from Bozeman for Cleveland today before returning to Montana tomorrow. Daines and his wife will then head out for a fly fishing trip later in the day. In Cleveland, Daines will meet with Montana's delegation and join freshman senators to talk about the diversity of the class that includes former military veterans and business leaders. Daines said the change in plans came about quickly, adding that, quote, "It's tough to trade Montana fly fishing for Cleveland for a day," end quote. One man is in custody in Missoula County Jail accused of threatening the life of a police officer, according to Police Detective Sergeant Scott Pastian. The whole interaction began when the officer approached 58-year-old Kevin Sullivan because Sullivan and some others were laying in a roadway near the 400 block of South Higgins.
This individual began tensing up as if wanting to fight the officer. He ended up arresting this individual for providing a false name. Once the individual was in the car, he was able to kick the officer in the chest as he was trying to get him under control. The person also spit all over the inside of the car and threatened to kill the officer when he got out of jail.
The threat to kill the officer resulted in a felony charge among a host of others.
He got charged with misdemeanor criminal mischief, misdemeanor assault, obstructing a peace officer for giving the false identifiers, disorderly conduct for leaving the vehicle traffic impassable, and then the threats in official and political matters.
Pastian said the felony charge of threats in official and political matters is rare in Missoula County, only happens a handful of times each year. 4 initiatives will appear on the ballot in November's election here in Montana. Secretary of State Linda McCullough certified the 4th ballot measure last week. That initiative seeks authorization for $200 million in state bonds over 10 years for Montana-based biomedical research into brain diseases, brain injuries, and mental illness. It would create a Montana Biomedical Research Authority to award research grants. Previously qualifying were initiatives to expand access to medical marijuana, to ban trapping on public lands, and to expand the rights of crime victims and their families. McCullough's office is continuing to tabulate the signatures submitted by counties on Friday, which was the last day to turn them in. A proposal to ban all use of marijuana in the state is about 4,100 signatures short of qualifying for the ballot. Well, a mountain gives new term to the meaning hold the bus. A Mountain Line bus drifted through the main depot and crashed into a building at the corner of Ryman and Pine yesterday afternoon. The offices that house the Missoula Police Detective Division. Corporal Patrick Erbacher has details.
We had a bus that was parked at the Mountain Line bus depot, and driver, I don't know if if they didn't put it in gear or didn't set the emergency brake on it. But vehicle at some point ended up rolling forward on its own. Driver tried to get it stopped by reaching through the window to pull the emergency brake, couldn't get it stopped, and it drove across the street into the front of our detective building.
Herbacher said there was damage to both the exterior and interior of the building.
Yeah, it hit right on the, I guess it would be the southwest corner of the building. Looks like it did some pretty good cosmetic damage to the inside and outside of the building when it hit. But engineers came and looked at it, and they say it'll be fine until they fix it.
The bus's windshield broke out. The front bumper and bike rack were both crushed. The only person injured was the bus driver, who suffered some minor scrapes. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. Flathead County officials have released the names of 3 people who were killed in a fiery rollover crash near Kalispell. Sheriff Chuck Curry said 51-year-old Kurt Lee Dolacek, 38-year-old Amy Nicole Ward, and 24-year-old Kendra Lynn Anderson of Kalispell all died at the crash about 2:30 Saturday morning. Curry said it's believed that Dolacek was driving. The Highway Patrol said the car left U.S. Highway 93 bypass, rolled, and caught fire. Dolacek was ejected from the vehicle and died at the scene. Ward and Anderson were still in the vehicle when it caught fire. Autopsies are planned. And a 19-year-old man has died in a fiery motorcycle crash in Billings. Police Sergeant Shane Winden told the Billings Gazette the man was riding a sport bike at about 1:20 in the morning Sunday when he hit a curb. The bike went across the oncoming lane of traffic and struck a guardrail. The motorcycle's fuel tank ruptured, starting a fire. Winden said the driver was burned and died at the scene. A major storm system rolled through Missoula County Sunday evening. Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation spokesman Jordan Copen said at least one fire was sparked by that storm.
We do have one fire start, or a smoke that we're chasing right now, out by the Helmville area. Usually starts out pretty small, so they're going out to, check it out. I'm sure there'll probably be a couple more start around the area the next couple of days. We're going to put our spotter plane up there today, too, and we're going to run our protection and see what we can find.
Copen says that a fire can wait a while after a rain before it flares up in drier weather. Fire officials decided yesterday to keep Missoula County under a moderate fire danger warning.
Established today that we're going to stay at moderate for the time being. Not saying that there isn't still fire danger out there, though. Trying to urge the public to still remain safe with any ignition sources that we have. I think we're supposed to be running into a little bit warmer weather and drier weather, too, so it could bump up to high within the next couple weeks.
By this time last year, Missoula was already at high or extreme fire danger. However, low temperatures and moisture have kept fire danger low at this time of year. Finally, Idaho County authorities say they have recovered a vehicle that 2 women had been riding in when they crashed into the Salmon River back in May. The body of 21-year-old Tiffany Maupin had been recovered May 28th, a week after the crash. Authorities have not yet located 20-year-old Kayla Dannenberg's body. The sheriff's office said river conditions Sunday had allowed for a dive team to remove the vehicle from the water. Police say the vehicle went into the fast-running river on May 17th.